Hey, quiet down. Let me do this. Take a look at this file. You have this package that has a scanned image on 2 layers. It's the same image on both layers. And the reason is you want to take the one and rotate this so that you can do this right reading. So this is all at an angle. If you take a line segment and stretch it across, let's see if I have it up here. You can get the line angle of this for this piece. So for example, trying to get this direction from here to this piece will let you do that. So from this angle, for example, it's going to give you the 32.14. So I'm just going to make it 32. And that'll be the directions that you use. So just to leave that up there so you have that measurement. And that allows you to get that angle. So when you take this graphic right here and take the rotation, if I double click on it, I can just type in 32 and hit preview. See, it goes this direction. So I'm just going to go subtract with it and hit preview, and now it becomes right reading. So I click OK, and that gives me a little bit of help. So I already typed out some of the letters, so I'm just going to Option and drag this across and Shift key this to be the fresh part. This pop I actually downloaded and gave you the font for this. You could try to outline this as well, but this is just as easy. And just Shift key this, Command X to make it so that it's a rounded section. And you can kind of see that you can get pretty accurate or pretty close with this section with that. So you can modify the text or you can keep it right as it is there. You can see that the O is a little bit lower, so I'm just going to highlight this with the character palette and use the baseline shift to drop this down. Okay, and use the Option to drop it over just to get a little bit closer to that, and then bump this one over a little bit. You can see the curve. You can also take that curve out with the points. So before I do that, I'll just Option and set a copy over on the side. With the type, just going to create outlines from that, and it's still grouped together. When you see this, you can see that you have a number of points that you can use the subtraction, delete anchor point. That way it doesn't remove the actual file, it just takes this section out of here. So it does have a couple of points to work with. Inside the pen tool is the anchor point tool, which allows you to curve and drag out individual handles that you can see this part. So you can kind of adjust this section, and you can also remove some of these points as well. So it's just a matter of trying to get comfortable using that shape right there, and then backing that up. Put the corn as well in here, for example, and so that gives you at least the outside edge. Gonna lock this part here. So that's the graphic. So then just taking a shape large enough to encompass this whole piece coming across, use the eyedrop tool, and then just use the Option key. Now I just want to make sure that this goes as far enough across. So I just have to stretch this across here, make sure it fits. And just do the Option and Command D to duplicate that down. And this one, just stretch this one down to here. And take one from up at the top, Shift key it, and then just Option and duplicate that down. So I'm just trying to use as much of the diagram as that's already available to it. And I'll just take that 32 out of there. So right along here, get some of the extra stuff hanging around here. Select all this with the Shift X just so you can see everything that needs to fit within this piece. And then if I have a rectangular shape, I can just rotate that around and make it pop right inside of it. So hopefully that makes sense. Switch this with the X. I'm going to group this together and move it backwards on this part, on this layer. So that's this part. This part's all going to be white, so just select these parts. So you can see you have that initial selection right there. That gives you that piece. Okay, so just select this part and turn that off. So you can see that initial section, and then all I need to do is take this part, rectangular piece, double click on the rotation. It's already set at 32. Click OK. And just reset this so I have a shape that I can take a look at. And this will allow you to adjust this piece right from there. So it has that part. So when you click on the outside, I'm just going to use the X to so you can see the bottom parts. I have to make this orange. So switch this back, take the direct selection tool, and just select these three to make them that orange. Okay. So now it has this, all these lines, the three pieces of type. So when I move it across, you can see it's all connected. So I'm going to group that together and now grab this rectangular box on top and go to Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. So now I have this part. Double click the rotation tool, select it and rotate this back. You can see it's at 32. Just go to 32 and just hit OK. And now you have this top piece. I'll turn this layer off. Now you can see that this part fits right inside there. Not too difficult. This part has the text already placed in there. Just use the eyedropper for the coloring. And change this to bold. Shrink this down. So this is going to fit with the text. All of this color with these pieces of the popcorn, just to show you, is when you create this, just click and drag, and you can drag the handle up pretty easily. And it makes this shape. They're all curved inside, so you're just kind of looking at the top to make that shape, and then this interior piece. And you can either make these shapes connected, so when you take a look at them as being punched out, that'll be the initial selection for it. So you have this one, these two pieces are making that one shape. Okay, so just so you can see it. The rest of these, or not, but we'll just take a selection on them, give them a color, punch them out. You can see that they're opposite of one another. So you just have to select two of them, like so. Okay, and just to keep them all uniform, that becomes the piece. Rectangle line, let the Smart Guide match up to that one. And come down to this one. And initially take this part off with the eyedropper. And that'll put it behind it. Okay. So that's how that part is created. Now this section up at the top, I'm just going to make a piece right about here. Put that behind it. And if you did take a look at this part where it has the labeling up at the top with this serrated edge, what happens is that you can take a rectangular selection, for example, give it the default colors, and if you go to Effect, you can place in here the zigzag, and the preset sets up like this. You can change the size of this to be smaller, or the amount of sections in there like that, but it goes all the way around it. So you're kind of stuck, but if you just do a segment of it with the pen tool, for example, and just shift key this apart, and just take that segment with the effect, it'll apply that piece. It's connected to the appearance. When you take a look at it, here's the zigzag that you can open up, make a little bit smaller, or the amount of it. Here you can use the arrow key to make this a little bit smaller. And the idea is that you could try to connect it. However, this is just a separate piece. So I'll set this over here just to show it to you. If I go in with the pen tool, I can't get anything into it. It'll start adding to it like that. So what you do is you can take this part and go under Object and expand the appearance, and now it's no longer connected to that filter, to where you can then start to attach this piece coming across. So it makes it a little bit easier for making that selection. Okay? So hopefully that gives you that selection right there. Okay?